The NASCAR Cup Series is ready to get down at the Monster Mile. That's right. We're racing at Dover International Speedway in the Dryden 400. Welcome back to another episode of our Sunday Salute together with NASCAR and Coca-Cola. I'm your host, Jesse Iwuji, joined by my co-host, Kim Coon. As you all know, Dover always provides great racing and is a beast of a track to get around.
Jesse, you're right about that. Technically, it's not a short track or a speedway, but drivers will say it races similar to a short track. And we spoke with the driver of the number 6 car, Ryan Newman, about navigating the literal ups and downs of the Monster Mile and his involvement with the military. Well, Ryan, thanks for joining us. And we are honoring our military in lots of unique ways this year. And today you're at Camp Lejeune with some of, I hear, the dogs being trained. What are you doing out there?
Well, we just watched Mr. Greg Walters be, I wouldn't say attacked, but be captured, I guess you could say, by one of the German Shepherds. So the K9 unit's pretty cool. Obviously, pretty special for me being an animal lover, and just getting to spend some time giving thanks and hearing these stories from these great military members who give us the freedom that we celebrate so much Memorial Day weekend.
That is awesome to hear. I have a lot of friends who've gone through Camp Lejeune, people I graduated with at the Naval Academy who went off to, become Marines and do all that fun stuff on ground. And I hear a lot of great stories from those folks who go there. They go there or they go to the West Coast and, go to Camp Pendleton. So a lot of great stuff happened there. And it's pretty cool that you're getting the opportunity to spend some time with the K9 guys because they have a very, very unique job out there.
The month of May is a time where we honor the service members who protect our country, and it all culminates with the Coke 600 Memorial Day weekend, and there's always a large military presence at the track for it. For you, what makes that experience and that race so special and sets it apart from other races?
I think just like, Kim, in our NASCAR community, there's so many people that reach out and make an impact, and Charlotte Motor Speedway and the Smith family and SMI and NASCAR and especially Coca-Cola with the Coca-Cola Racing family, and as a proud member of the Coca-Cola Racing family, what they do to give thanks and just pay tribute to service members, past, present, and future, that have done so much and will continue to do so much for us to have our freedoms and enjoy Memorial Day with our families as we work our way into the 4th of July and celebrating our independence. It's just, it's amazing how everybody in our, and I say everybody, it's general, right? But everybody in our network of friends and family, give thanks. Ryan,
back in the day, used to drive the Army car. How was that experience like for you?
Yeah, it was humbling, really, because, one of the things I learned was about, hearing stories from the service members in the military and in particular, like you said, in the Army, and learning and understanding the things that they go through to protect our freedom. And, our freedom is our families and people at home and the ones that we care and love about. And, that's a big network that connects all of us.
This weekend, we're racing at Dover. Dover also a very big military presence there. There's a base there. But I was talking with Jesse earlier in the weekend. He has not raced Dover in his career yet. So describe what a lap around the Monster Mile feels like.
It's a big version of Bristol. I've always described Bristol as getting flushed in a toilet, right? You go round and round and round, and you hopefully go out the bottom. And that's what Dover is a big version of that. A lot more speed. The big transitions of going down into the corners and then climbing the hill off the corners is like no other racetrack that we compete at. So it's got some uniqueness. Obviously, the concrete, the segments, the way the tires and the shocks and the everything rides over those joints is very critical. And, it seems like a lot of, like Darlington, some guys get it right and, they annihilate the field, and hopefully we're that team this coming weekend.
Yeah. Well, watching the races at Dover, I've been there a few times just to watch and, obviously seen it on TV, and just to see that drop, especially when you get there in real life, to actually see, that drop going into turn 1, going into turn 3, that's a huge drop. And I guess the amount of G-forces that you feel through the corner and the way your stomach probably sinks, I'm sure it's after a while it might get people a little woozy.
You talk G-forces. The really only time I've experienced intense G-forces when I get to do a ride along with the Thunderbirds, and I know a lot of drivers have. Have you been one of those drivers? And if not, is it on your list to do?
I haven't rode with the Thunderbirds, but I've been in an F-16, and I know exactly what you're talking about. And few people understand that feeling of having your stomach in your throat to the extent that they can do that. if they really want to.
Awesome. Well, Ryan, we appreciate the time. And again, enjoy the rest of your time at Camp Lejeune, and best of luck at Dover this weekend.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Country music artist Craig Morgan will sing the national anthem for today's race. And Jesse, you were able to get a one-on-one with him. How was that?
Yes, and aside from him being Army, because I'm Navy, he was pretty awesome. We covered everything from his military career to his transition to becoming a nationwide known country singer, and here's a look. I am here with music star Craig Morgan, who is former Army. Your time in the Army, you're a Ranger, obviously. I mean, that's pretty cool. How does it shape your musical career?
It's definitely enhanced my ability. One, I think first and foremost is, again, the appreciation. So every time something positive would happen in my business, whether it be a song becoming a hit, every bit of it for me felt as if it were magnified because of everything that I had experienced before. The training that we receive in the military, regardless of your branch, the getting up early and the physical fitness. I think when you're physically fit, it helps with your mental strength. It helps with your spiritual, everything so there's a big, huge, never-ending ball of all these things that go together. And for me, incorporating all of those things in the way I operate my business as a musician.
With all your service, everything you're doing in the industry, how have you been able to continue to stay engaged with the military community, whether it's vets or active duty?
I love working with the USO. I've been very fortunate to do a whole lot with the USO over the years. But there's also other organizations. Some of my old units, I would go back and visit the units. We do concerts in and around the areas, and we ensure that we're taking care of our military personnel when we're doing these shows in and around the areas. NASCAR's great about that. And NASCAR's always been so good about ensuring that the military gets a nice discount, or they have military appreciation days where they come in for free and all the stuff that they do. We do the same kind of stuff in our industry. We just try to take good care of our veterans and let them know that we appreciate their efforts.
So you're singing the national anthem at an upcoming race. How do you feel about that? How does that make you feel? That's a pretty cool honor.
The national anthem makes me so nervous, man, because for a couple of reasons. One, I was a service member, so as a service member, you just don't want to mess up that. You don't want to disrespect the anthem. And two, as a singer, it's the only song you do where it's you. You're out there by yourself, and if you mess up, everybody knows it. And we have all seen all the YouTube videos of everybody messing it up.
You definitely brought up a good point. I mean, you're the only one. There's really no one out there. You're not singing with the group, nothing. It's just you. So no pressure, though. No pressure. You got this. We all believe in you. Huge thanks to you for all you do. Your service, everything you do for the military community now. It's really cool to see vets out there who are just absolutely crushing it. It was a pleasure speaking with Craig and hearing his story, just seeing his transition going from the Army to singing country music. It's pretty cool to see service members who have served this country, protected this country, and transitioned off to their dream job. So Craig, thank you so much for your service and everything you've done for this country. And it's great to see you doing well in the country music singing world. I spoke with Colonel Rebecca Gray, who is the Executive Director of Military and Veterans Affairs at Comcast, and she discussed Comcast's Live Zone partnership with the Green Beret Project in Dover, Delaware, a very important and needed initiative. Rebecca, how is it going today?
It's been an incredible ride. I've been in the military for coming on 31 years, and so my career began with a phone call from Mickey King. She was the 88 Olympic diving coach and 1972 Olympic gold medalist. So in my sport, diving, she's iconic. And so when she called, my life ended up pivoting pretty significantly, as I know yours did too, at the Naval Academy. And then I went into the Air Force Academy, and it's been a crazy ride ever since. And one of my first jobs in the military was I was a world-class athlete, so had the privilege of traveling around the world, competing, representing the United States.
It's obvious, Comcast is putting in some great efforts into activating with NASCAR. Tell us about how Comcast is activating within the NASCAR Suits platform.
Well, one of the things that I wanted to announce is our Lift Zone that is occurring, in a Lift Zone partnership that we have with the Green Beret Project there in Dover. This is an exciting organization. One of the exciting things about this organization, Jesse, is these are veterans who are giving back to the community. These are actively serving Guard and Reserve members who have created an organization called Green Beret Project. And we have the privilege of partnering with them. They're serving at-risk youth right there in Dover. And we have activated a lift zone, which is a free Wi-Fi spot for students to log into the internet to accomplish their homework, to do their distance learning. They're at the Green Beret Project. They serve teens, at-risk teens, so they're looking for work and they're applying for jobs. Through these partnerships, these are the opportunities for us to address the homework gap, right, with these students, to start closing this digital divide in a pretty significant way. And so what Comcast is doing is we're rolling not only out with the Green Beret Project there in Dover, but we're rolling out 1,000+ lift zones across the United States. And we made that commitment back in September of 2020. And we have, in true fashion as an industry leader, we've accelerated that, and we'll be opening 1,000 of these lift zones across the United States by the end of this year.
What a great interview, Jesse, and I loved hearing Colonel Gray's perspective. And it's so admirable what the veterans of the Green Beret Project and Comcast are doing for at-risk teens.
I fully agree. Anytime you're able to use your resources and give back, it's always a great thing. Cup Series driver Eric Jones sat down for a little Q&A with myself and several service members from Dover Air Force Base. Let's check that one out. What would be something that would excite you the most to be able to do with the Air Force?
Well, I definitely want to go skydiving with him. That's been something I've already kind of mentioned to him here coming up. So hoping that works out at some point through the year and we can do some cool stuff with that. But there are a lot of great opportunities with the Air Force and there's a lot of cool stuff they do. I did the Thunderbirds in 2017. I think you only get to do the Thunderbirds one time as a civilian. So I'm timed out on the Thunderbirds, but I hope I get to come back and do the skydiving with them.
Maybe I could pull some strings for you. I know a few folks who work with the Thunderbirds. Maybe I can go over there and change a few things up for you and maybe get you back in one of those jets and get to feel those G-forces again. I guess tell us about that experience with the Thunderbirds. Like, did you puke? Did you hold it all in? Were you strong? What happened?
Yeah, it was awesome. I didn't get sick. I got close right at the end. We were doing a lot of barrel rolls. I think he was just intentionally, my pilot's name was Eric Gonzalez, and I think he was intentionally trying to make me sick at the end of it all. I never said anything, and then he finally said, all right, we're going to turn around and head back. And I didn't say a word. I just sat back there and caught my breath and rode on home. But it was awesome. You know, what a cool experience, obviously. Something that not a lot of people get the chance to do is go up with those guys and, you know, just experiencing what those planes are capable of. And then those guys being able to fly them at the G-forces that they're pulling and still be under control was the most impressive thing for me. Getting up there 8-9 Gs, I was just hanging on, right, and riding along, just trying not to pass out. And Eric was up there flying the plane like it was no big deal, counting out what G's we were at. So that was pretty cool for me.
I'll open it up real quick to the group and see what questions they might have for you.
I'll jump in first. My name is Scott Morissette. I'm originally from Osakis, Minnesota. I'm working in the fire department at the base. And just two questions I really got to ask, man. I watched your Daytona win a couple years ago, back in 2018. How is it driving that fast and just making the split decisions in and out and finally be able to win that big race? How was that?
Well, really, I think for us, it's more instinct than anything. You know, you're not necessarily you are making the choices, but subconsciously, right? You know, you're kind of going through and just doing what I guess you were trained to, you know, similar to anything. And so I look back at Daytona in that race and watch through the moves at the end of the race and what we did to win. You know, a lot of it, like I said, was just subconscious, just kind of taking what was there, going with the runs and going with the momentum. But winning that race was awesome. I mean, you know, my whole life, the goal is to race in the Cup Series and be able to win a race there. And you know, to notch that first one off always feels good in anything, you know, growing up, whether it's go-karts or late models, that first win is always really special. So, you know, remember that a lot of that day.
Hey, Eric, I'm Robert McManus. I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina. I work as a C-17 crew chief right now at the 736 Aircraft Maintenance Squadron. My question to you is a little heavier. So the plate races, what are your thoughts on plate racing? And with Joey going over and Ryan Newman's incident last year, what are your thoughts on the future of plate racing, and does it have a place in the future of the sport, or do you think that maybe the gimmick's up and they should move on from that?
Well, I think it's here to stay. To be honest, I think not even every driver, but every person has a risk threshold, right, of what they're really willing to do and willing to risk. And it's a little bit different for everybody. And I think it changes at what point in your life you're into. And for me, I'm a young guy. So my risk level is probably higher than what Joey's is. He has a wife and a kid. And so he probably looks at things a lot differently than me. But I think there's an inherent risk that comes with racing. As safe as our cars are, and I think we've done a great job making them safer. We obviously haven't seen any fatal accidents in a long time. There's still a risk there, and I'm willing as a driver to accept that risk. And honestly, going into Daytona and Talladega and those races, never have thought about it too much. So, I think NASCAR is going to probably make some changes before we go back. Obviously, we're only having one more or two more races with this current car and at the super speedways. So there's kind of a limitation to how far we can really go to make things different. But, I think we'll have to see what the next gen car really races like and does on super speedways. But to answer your question, I think super speedway racing is definitely here to stay.
What has inspired you to join the military? What was that factor? A lot of people, sometimes it was 9/11, sometimes it was whatever this, that, parents, maybe they've always wanted to do it. What inspired you?
For me, it was kind of like what you stated. 9/11 was a big thing. My father also served in the military, and it was really cool hearing all his stories about traveling all over the world and seeing different things, and just getting all the different experiences that he got to go through throughout his career. Made me really realize that was something that I had wanted to do with my life as well, kind of following his footsteps.
So I have only been in the Air Force for 2 years now. My husband has been in for about 11. So we were awarded the opportunity to be stationed over at Lakenheath in the United Kingdom. An amazing opportunity, as you were saying, being overseas. It's just a totally different world. So we really enjoyed that. I have not deployed yet, but I'm hoping in the foreseeable future that I get that opportunity. And we actually just recently PCS'd here from Hurlburt Field in Florida. So we came here in the winter time. So I was getting used to the cold again after coming from Florida, but I'd like to think that I have now acclimated myself. So I'm well prepared for the summer and winter ahead.
Well, that does it for another week of Sunday Salutes together with NASCAR and Coca-Cola. Thank you to everyone who stuck around.
Be sure to tune into the race today at 2 p.m. on FS1 and come back next week for another great episode of Sunday Salutes. As always, happy race day.